The Asia-Pacific region is the place to be in coming decades, according to Morgan Stanley's Bill Strong. At an NUS event recently, he said that Morgan Stanley has a lot of faith in the future and increased its headcount here by 6% in the first quarter of 2012.
Several areas that you really felt were going to be the focus of growth for Morgan Stanley in Asia. Can you talk a bit more about what those specific areas are?
We've got fixed income, we've got institutional equity, we've got investment banking, we've got institutional and retail asset management. We also invest in private equity, infrastructure, a variety of things like that. So that is our strategy. It's very clear. We've told the market what our strategy is, and so for us it's just executing, that strategy, whether it's here in Singapore or whether it's in Germany or whether it's in Chicago. It's pretty much the same strategy really everywhere.
Asia took a lot of tough medicine in 97, 98, and they did many of the things that the world community said they needed to do to realign their businesses, their business practices, and to come through the Asian economic crisis. I think it can be argued that the West is hesitant to now take on many of those same hard choices and changes as we've seen in Europe most recently. How do you think Asia is going to come out of all of this global turmoil right now, given its dependence on the outside world, on the rest of ex-Asia?
Well, I think with population growth, with the increased incidence of new products for the middle classes in many of the countries, there's going to continue to be outstanding growth here in Asia. I think in terms of learning from the rest of the world, the one thing I would say is in the West, in certain places, in most places in the West, there's a free, frictionless movement of capital and people between jurisdictions, and that makes cost of capital lower, makes it easier for businesses to do business. There remain certain places in Asia where intermediating capital in and out of countries for certain products is frankly antiquated. I think most governments know that and they're working on that. Contrasted to Singapore, for example, which is a great model for the rest of Asia, there is a very free movement of capital and people in and out of the country. And that is the right way to do it for the citizens of Singapore.
Strong also believes that Asian countries can learn from the mistakes made by Western countries. He talks about the excesses like borrowing too much money and spending too much without proper regulation and oversight. But he says there's a bright side.
There's also tremendous need for capital here in Asia in infrastructure. We haven't really talked a lot about that. Singapore is committed to, I know, a very large light rail system and highway system. They can finance it and do it, but many countries around Asia have tremendous needs for infrastructure development and don't have the capital really to do it from their own resources, and therefore are going to have to rely upon, in some cases, third-party money to really help facilitate that. So I see Asia and the West working increasingly closely together. It's getting a smaller world, getting to be a smaller world every day.
So you feel that third-party money will come from the West?
It will come from the West in some cases, because the governments don't have the ability to do it in some cases on their own, because the deficits they're running, they just can't do it. But they still have the need to serve their citizens. So I think there will be ways in which capital from the West or capital from here in Asia can find its way to those infrastructure projects.
Strong concluded by saying that Asia has the opportunity to do things better, despite the fact that capital markets are generally less well formed in this region. For NUS Business School, I'm Glenn Van Zutphen.